The fall of Constantinople. May the 29th, 1453. Tuesday. Just before dawn. The city of Constantinople has been under siege for 53 days. The Ottoman army, commanded by the young Sultan Mehmed II, surrounds the city on all sides. 100,000 soldiers, perhaps more. The greatest cannons the world has ever seen, built by a Hungarian engineer named Urban, who had first offered his services to the Byzantines but was turned away because they could not afford him. The cannons fire stones that weigh half a ton, stones that crash against the ancient walls with the force of an earthquake. Constantinople is exhausted. When the siege began, the city could muster perhaps 7,000 defenders. Now, after 7 weeks of relentless bombardment, there are fewer still. The walls, which have stood for 1,000 years against every enemy the world could throw at them, are crumbling. The great Theodosian walls, triple walls of stone and brick, the mightiest fortifications in the medieval world, are breached in several places. At night, the defenders work frantically to repair the damage, filling the gaps with whatever they can find: rubble, timber, earth. By morning, the cannons have smashed through again. The last Roman emperor, Constantine XI, knows that the end is near. He has refused every offer of surrender. When Mehmed offered to spare the city if Constantine would yield, the emperor replied that he would rather die. He is 49 years old. He has been emperor for only 4 years. He will be the last. In the darkness before dawn, the defenders stand on the walls, peering out into the Ottoman camp. They can see the fires, the torches, the endless tents stretching to the horizon. They can hear the drums, the horns, the chanting of the imams calling the soldiers to prayer. The sound of an army preparing for battle. The attack begins at 1:30 in the morning. The first wave is composed of irregular troops, lightly armed, poorly trained, expendable. They are sent forward to exhaust the defenders, to soak up arrows and bullets, to die so that the elite troops behind them can advance over their bodies. The defenders on the walls fight desperately. They cut down wave after wave of attackers. But for every Ottoman soldier who falls, another takes his place. The defenders are growing tired. Their arms ache. Their swords are notched. Their ammunition is running low. After 2 hours of continuous assault, the irregulars are pulled back. The second wave advances, the Anatolian regulars, professional soldiers from the heartland of the Ottoman Empire. They are disciplined, well-armored, and they attack with terrifying coordination. The fighting is brutal, hand-to-hand, sword against sword. The Genoese commander Giovanni Giustiniani, the most skilled soldier in the city's defense, fights at the front of his men, his armor dented and blooded. But the Anatolians, too, are thrown back. There is one wave left. The Janissaries. The Janissaries are the elite of the Ottoman army. They have been trained for war since childhood, taken from their Christian families as boys and raised as the Sultan's personal soldiers. They are the most feared fighting force in Europe. And now, in the darkness before dawn, they advance toward the walls of Constantinople in perfect silence, their ranks unbroken, their discipline absolute. The defenders know what is coming. They have heard the stories. They know the Janissaries do not break. The fighting at the walls reaches a pitch of savagery that defies description. The air is filled with the clash of steel, the screams of the wounded, the thunder of the cannons. The ground is slick with blood. And then, two things happen that seal the fate of Constantinople. The first, Giovanni Giustiniani is grievously wounded. A bolt or a bullet strikes him, and he falls. His men, seeing their commander carried from the walls, begin to waver. He begs to be taken back to his ship. Constantine pleads with him to stay. But Giustiniani is carried away, and with him goes the morale of the defenders. The second, someone forgets to lock a small gate. The Kerkerporta, a small postern gate in the northern wall. It had been used by the defenders to make sorties against the Ottoman camp. In the chaos of the battle, someone left it open. A group of Ottoman soldiers finds the open gate, pushes through, and raises their banner on the wall above. The cry goes up, "The city is taken." Panic spreads through the defenders. The line breaks. The Janissaries pour through the breaches. Constantine XI, the last Roman emperor, sees that all is lost. He removes his imperial regalia, his purple cloak, his golden eagle, so that his body will not be recognized, and desecrated. Then he draws his sword and charges into the heart of the fighting. He is never seen again. His body is never found. The city falls. After 1100 years, the Roman Empire, the empire of Augustus and Constantine and Justinian, the empire that shaped the world, comes to an end. The sack lasts for 3 days, as was the custom of war. Mehmed II had promised his soldiers the traditional 3 days of plunder. But on the afternoon of the first day, he enters the city and orders an end to the destruction. He rides to the Hagia Sophia, the great church that had been the spiritual heart of Eastern Christianity for 1,000 years. He dismounts. He sprinkles a handful of dust on his turban as a sign of humility. He enters the church, and he orders that it be converted into a mosque. The fall of Constantinople sent shockwaves through Europe. It is often said that this event marks the end of the Middle Ages and the beginning of the Renaissance. Greek scholars fled the fallen city, carrying with them ancient manuscripts that had been preserved in Constantinople's libraries for 1,000 years. These texts, brought to Italy, helped fuel the rebirth of classical learning that we call the Renaissance. The fall of Constantinople also closed the land route to the east, forcing European explorers to seek new ways to reach Asia. Within 40 years, Christopher Columbus would sail west across the Atlantic, searching for a new route to India. He found a new world instead. Mehmed II, now called Mehmed the Conqueror, rebuilt the city as the capital of the Ottoman Empire. He repopulated it with people from across his domains: Turks, Greeks, Armenians, Jews. The city flourished under Ottoman rule. It would remain the seat of the Ottoman sultans for nearly 500 years, until the empire itself collapsed at the end of the First World War. Today, the city is called Istanbul. The Hagia Sophia still stands, now a mosque once more after many years as a museum. The walls that Constantine defended still stand in places, broken and overgrown, a reminder of that terrible Tuesday morning nearly 600 years ago. If you walk along those walls in the quiet of an evening, when the call to prayer echoes over the rooftops and the sun sets over the Golden Horn, you can almost hear the echoes of that battle. The clash of swords, the thunder of cannons, the cries of the dying. And you can almost see the last emperor, his purple cloak cast aside, his sword raised, charging into the darkness. He kept his word. He did not surrender. He would rather die. And so the Roman Empire ended, not with a whimper, but with a sword in the hand of its last emperor, facing the dawn of a new age. The siege of Constantinople was not just a military campaign. It was the end of an era. The Byzantine Empire had existed for over 1,000 years, the direct continuation of the Roman Empire in the East. When Rome fell to the barbarians in 476, Constantinople carried on. It preserved the learning of the ancient world, the philosophy of Plato and Aristotle, the mathematics of Euclid, the medicine of Galen. Its libraries held manuscripts that had been copied and recopied for centuries, treasures of human knowledge that existed nowhere else on earth. The city itself was a wonder. Built on a peninsula where Europe meets Asia, it was surrounded on three sides by water, the Golden Horn to the north, the Bosphorus to the east, the Sea of Marmara to the south. Only the western side faced the land, and that was defended by the Theodosian walls, the mightiest fortifications in the medieval world. Three parallel walls of stone and brick, studded with towers, protected by a moat. An army of 100,000 had once besieged these walls and failed. For 1,000 years, no enemy had ever breached them. But the world had changed. The cannons of Mehmed II were unlike anything the walls had ever faced. Urban, the Hungarian engineer, had offered his services to Constantine first, but the emperor could not afford him. So Urban went to the Sultan, and Mehmed paid him 4 times what he asked. The cannons he built were monsters. One of them, named Basilica, was 27 feet long and could fire a stone ball weighing over half a ton. It took 60 oxen and 400 men to move it. When it fired, the sound could be heard 10 miles away. And day after day, week after week, it pounded the walls of Constantinople. The defenders repaired the breaches every night. Men, women, and children worked in the darkness, filling the gaps with rubble and timber and earth. Every morning, the cannons opened fire again, and the walls crumbled again. It was a race they could not win. Inside the city, the people prayed. Processions wound through the streets, carrying icons and relics. In the Hagia Sophia, the great church built by the Emperor Justinian 900 years earlier, the faithful gathered for what many believed would be the last time. The emperor himself attended the final service. He received communion. He asked forgiveness of anyone he had wronged. Then he rode to the walls to fight. The conquest of Constantinople sent shockwaves through Europe, but it also transformed the city. Mehmed did not destroy it. He rebuilt it. He encouraged Greeks and others who had fled to return. He ensured the safety of the Christian population, guaranteeing their right to worship. The city became Istanbul, the capital of a new empire, and it flourished. Today, the walls that Constantine defended still stand in places, broken and overgrown with ivy. The Hagia Sophia still rises against the skyline, its great dome a miracle of engineering that has inspired architects for 15 centuries. And somewhere beneath the streets, perhaps, the body of the last emperor still lies, unmarked and unmourned, his sword still in his hand, facing the dawn of a new age. He kept his word. He did not surrender. He would rather die. And so the Roman Empire ended, not with a whimper but with a sword in the hand of its last emperor.